Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make this bucket hat. It's only the second bucket hat I've ever made, so the pattern isn't perfect, but it's definitely a good start if you've never made a bucket hat before. To start, cut out a piece of paper that is 7 by 7 inches and then make that into a circle. And then this is the pattern for the headband on the left and the brim of the hat on the right, so you might want to screenshot this or pause it to draw it out. First, take the headband piece, and on the pattern where I had written fold, you're going to want to lay that pattern down against the fold of your fabric. So as you saw, I folded the fabric in half and then clipped it to the fabric to make it easier to trace. Once it's all cut, you should be able to unfold the fabric and it'll look something like this, about twice the size of the pattern you made. Next, use that piece as a reference and lay it on your fabric to cut out another piece identical to the first one. Now you should have two identical pieces for the headband. Then do the same thing with the brim pieces, where you put the folded side against the folded piece of the fabric, cut it out, and then use that piece as a reference for the second piece that is again identical to the first one. I also went ahead and traced the circle piece and cut that out as well. Next, you're going to take all the pieces that you have and make identical pieces out of the lining fabric, so this can be whatever you want. I chose to use 100% cotton just because that's typically what I use for lining. Cut everything out and then you should have double of everything, one in your original fabric and then one in the lining fabric. Now that all the pieces are cut, take your headband pieces of the exterior fabric and just lay them flat on top of each other with the correct size facing each other, and do the same with the brim piece. Clip each of these on either end, and then you're going to want to sew along the edges just on the short two ends, not on the actual center pieces at all. This is just going to make it one uniform circular piece. Once that's sewn, it should look something like this. So this is the headband piece and then this is the brim piece. Next, take the headband piece, and on the slightly shorter side, you're going to want to pin or clip that to the circular piece, and it should fit pretty well, but if for some reason it doesn't, just adjust accordingly and it should be fine. When it's clipped, it should look something like this. It'll basically just be the headband piece all around the circle, and then sew that together, and you should have an end result of something like this. And then slowly just flip it inside out or right side out so that the correct sides are facing outward. Now take your brim piece and line it up with the piece that you just flipped right side out. You're going to keep the correct sides facing each other, so it should look something like this. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but I think if you just follow what I'm doing in the video, you should be able to get it on correctly, and once it's pinned, it'll look something like this. Then sew those pieces together to complete the exterior part of your hat. Flip that piece downward and you should have something that resembles a bucket hat at this point. Repeat all of those pinning and sewing steps with the lining fabric and it'll look pretty much identical, but for this one, do not flip it right side out. You're going to leave it as is. And as you see in the video, I'm going to take that piece and insert it into the exterior fabric, and then both of the correct sides should be facing outward. So take the wrong sides and place those against each other. Then fold over a small bit of the exterior fabric over the lining so that it's folded inward, and then clip that all down because you're going to sew that to secure everything in place. Finally, just sew along that line and then your bucket hat is complete. I think it looks pretty cute overall. It definitely can be adjusted in certain areas for whatever your preference is, but yeah, hopefully this was helpful and follow me on TikTok. Bye guys.